Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you for joining the show tonight. So today we're going to be talking about a potentially uncomfortable topic, and that would be emotional addiction tonight on Thursday Night Live. Hello and welcome to the show. So we're going to be talking about emotional addiction. And I know it sounds really, really bad, but I think it's something we need to discuss and frankly put squarely on the table. We all have times when we're not in a good mood. It's a normal part of being human. Some of us, however, experience negative states deeper, more often than others. This brings up the concept of emotional addiction. Neuroscientist and pharmacologist Candace Pert, in her appearance in the movie The Secret, asked viewers, "What emotion are you addicted to?" I never forgot that line, even though years have passed since I've seen the film. I could easily name a few contenders of my own emotional addictions, but emotional addiction was not a topic that is often discussed in literature. Addictions are often thought of when referring to drugs, alcohol, gambling, work, or sex, but we can also become addicted to our emotions. Living constantly in a perpetual state of fear, anger, sadness, frustration, or worry can have a devastating impact on our bodies. These persistent toxic states always underlie chronic disease and stress-related disorders. They are just as destructive to our well-being as drinking and drugging. When we have an emotional addiction, we become hooked on a certain feeling, a certain way, a familiar way. If much of our childhood was lived in fear, then we might be addicted to the feelings frightening situations hold for us. We can become addicted to worry or the adrenaline rush that stress offers. We can become preoccupied with a person or situation and the ensuing feelings or the ensuing feelings our obsessions offer. Even though these emotions we are experiencing might not feel good to us, in actuality, they may be excruciatingly painful. There is still a strange part of us that finds comfort in them. Many times when we attract people or situations into our lives that will give us more than we are asking for. If we need to feel minimalized, ashamed, talked down to, or humiliated, we might find an abuser who will activate these feelings within us. This will allow us to feed our cravings. The more we give into our addictions, the more time we give it to ponder it. Hold it in our awareness and savor it. A tolerance to the deeper, darker place within ourselves for longer expanses of time just to get our fill. Some of our emotions can become so strong that they can seem like they have taken control of our lives. People with emotional addictions can look for some of the most insignificant events to trigger an emotional response to nurture this yearning. This allows them to experience a rush of negative emotions, a distorted kind of emotional high. These individuals typically thrive on things being slightly out of balance. Their lives may be filled with constant drama where they go from one crisis to another. Anything less leaves them feeling numb. The world would be a boring place without this ongoing rush. So how do you know if you have an emotional addiction? And you might have an emotional addiction if you're always sad, complaining about everything, or only see the negative side of a situation. You might have an emotional addiction if you're repeatedly telling the same tragic story. Ironically, many are negative emotions. They they can be we can become so accustomed to this toxic state, even if it leaves us feeling uncomfortable, that it seems normal. In fact, to many, the negative feelings seem so familiar. They are like an old comfortable pair of slippers we put on at night. They can leave us feeling weirdly safe and at home with ourselves. So, not to make excuses for our emotions or our behaviors, but we all have a unique set of thoughts and emotions and emotional responses. Our programming and past experiences set the stage for how our body and mind reacts, which includes our addictions. When we experience a particular emotion, our body releases a flurry of powerful chemicals known as neuropeptides into the body. Each emotion is associated with a specific neuropeptide. These small chain amino acids enter the bloodstream and activate or inhibit the function of our cells. Peptides regulate every aspect of our body, including the production of chemicals such as adrenaline, dopamine, cortisol, and serotonin, which can affect our mood. They operate as a lock and key mechanism of cellular expression. Each of our cells are covered in a series of what are called receptor sites and act as the locking mechanism of the cell. When a specific neuropeptide, the key, comes into contact with the cell, it can bind into the receptor. Thus, when the key, the peptide, is inserted into the receptor cell, it can lock or unlock it, turning cellular function on or off depending on the peptide. Okay, so sorry for that complex biological explanation, but this is where this whole conversation gets very compelling and really the point of this whole conversation. If we have a propensity to experience a particular emotion, so happiness, sadness, negativity or whatever, our bodies automatically recalibrates itself to accommodate it. As our cells divide and new ones are created, the new cell has increased receptor sites on it to handle the predominant neuropeptides our body is producing. We literally transform our body to be able to deal with more negativity, unhealthy peptides, just by consistently, hang on a second, let me say that again. We literally transform our body to be able to deal with more negativity, unhealthy peptides, just by consistently feeling angry, anxious, worried, frustrated, or ill at ease. The increased number of receptor sites cause us to feel a specific emotion quicker and more intensely because we can process them faster. It is like when the grocery store opens up an additional checkout lane. We can quickly move through the process instead of standing in line and waiting. Interestingly, and this is where the hope and the whole resolution to this comes. As negative emotional receptor sites increase, the number of receptor sites that support feel-good chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins decrease. This was a shocker to me, but we're teaching our body to be more inclined to negative thinking each time we have a troubling thought. Equally interesting, we can change our thoughts to happier and healthier ones. The number of receptor sites will diminish, of the harmful receptor sites will diminish, and the ones associated with feeling good will increase. With time and practice, we can literally transform ourselves into a whole new person inside and out. And so if you are someone who is traditionally trapped in negative thinking and you have an emotional response very quickly, and it's hard for you to find joy or happiness or contentment in your life, there is a biological piece to it. And the more you practice mindfulness or meditation or tapping and working on bringing yourself into the present moment and getting yourself into the flow and surrendering to the flow, that will start transforming it, because you are decreasing the number of receptor sites for those toxic emotions and increasing receptor site for positive ones. So I hope that really makes sense to you. I am really glad to bring that piece of information to you. So that came, and actually that came from this book, Dang, It Was Me All Along, which is available on my site, soulhealer.com, or Amazon, or where any books are sold. But if you get it from soulhealer.com, it comes autographed, which is priceless. Anyway, guys, I'm so excited to be here. It has been a very, 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 very long week, but we are going to get things started. And so here are the ground rules for the day. So if you would like to get a general reading, all you would need to do is to go into the chat and say, hey, Dr. Rita, your hair looks really wonderful. Can I get a reading? I would like a number, and you can pick a number between 1 and 3. And that's how many times I will shuffle the cards on your behalf until I draw a card. You can also go to, come on, go up there. There you go. To soulhealer.com/line. So if they're live. And so if there's a lot of people in the line and you want to make sure you get your reading, you can jump the line, because you will be the next person that gets a reading from me. Okay. If you have a specific question, so maybe there's something going on in your life that you need some guidance and insight on, you know, a health related issue, a relationship problem, an issue about work, doesn't really matter, just not dead people or predicting the future, soulhealer.com/live, click the Ask Dr. Rita button and leave your question there. And while you're there, if you want to leave me a little something, you're enjoying the show, you know, or get a good reading, leave a little something, soulhealer.com/live. Okay. And also, you know, wherever you're watching this show, and actually I should announce this now. So if you're watching this show in a rerun form and you would like to join the live show, you can do that by going to my YouTube channel. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube, 7 p.m. Central Time. Click the live link, and that will allow you to enter the chat right away. Okay, so now I'm going to say hi, and we will get this party started. All right, so ERRT Radio, you are number 1. And he says, happy Thursday, Dr. Rita. Your hair looks amazing. Thank you. May I have a reading number 3? And you are so welcome, ERRT Radio. So what do you guys think about this whole concept of emotional addiction? I found it soothing. I found that idea that you can change the receptor sites on your cells so that you can experience more happiness, enjoying your life, as being one of the most encouraging pieces of information I've actually ever uncovered. Okay, ERRT Radio, that's your card for today. So ERRT Radio, and this is not a slam against you at all, because I know that you're a pretty sensitive guy. I feel like you have been, like many of us people who tend to be empathic and sensitive to the energy around us, being really hit by the planetary vibration. I get the impression that you have been really working on releasing and surrendering and trying to get back into the present moment. I think you're doing a great job. I feel like you're trying to keep on top of it. If you're feeling a little smothered, or if your inner critic, this is the way I want to say it, if your inner critic is saying you're not doing enough, I just want to respond back to you, but you're doing something. And this is some thick energy we're working through right now. And so just pat yourself on the back that you are at least not getting sucked up and sucked away in the negativity. Okay. And Yvonne is here. She says, hi, Dr. Rita, look good. Can I get a reading number 3? And you sure can, Yvonne. Oh, excuse me, Yvonne, I need to interject, and I have not scrolled through, so I don't know if she's going to be here tonight, but Unar had a health challenge this past week, and I was talking to her a little bit on Facebook, and so I'm not sure if she's going to be here tonight, but I did tell her that I would just put it out to all of you guys. We all love Unar. And if you could just send some love and prayers her way, she could use it. So, okay. All right, Yvonne, that's your card for today. So, Yvonne, I just am noticing that you're just feeling really tired and fatigued, and you just kind of want this all to end. My guidance to you is that this is just where things are right now, and perhaps, instead of trying to fight it, to just accept that this is where it's at, and it's okay to be confused, and it's okay to not really have a direction or a plan. I feel like this storm needs to ride itself out. And then it would be a more appropriate time. I feel like sitting there and trying to make things happen isn't going to work. And what they're suggesting for me to say to you is to use this time to be free. Use this time for yourself, to really nurture yourself and be kind, because there's not anything you can do. There's not anything you can do to change it. Okay. And Don's here. So Don, I totally want to hear what you thought about tonight's presentation, because that one kind of was for you. And he says, howdy, Dr. Rita. I'm here no matter what they say. I get a number 1. You sure can, Don. Okay, and that's your card for today. Man, everybody's just kind of struggling. So, Don, I feel like you're also struggling a little bit. I feel like, if this had been last year, you would be in a really deep rabbit hole right now. For you, I want to give a different piece of advice. Maybe it would be a good opportunity to step back and go into observer mode. The biggest thing that I'm feeling Feeling for you, for you around us, like my internet doing this. Ugh. Okay, let's see. And we have Pearl in the house. Hi, Pearl, and says, hello, lovely est. Hi, Dr. Rita. Can I please have 2 shuffles and a reading? You sure can, Pearl. Nice. Well, I don't know where my focus went. I guess I'm just going to be blurry for your Pearl. I'm not quite sure how to fix that. Hang on a second. Let's see. Camera. There, that's better. That's better. Okay, so Pearl, your card, where'd you go, Pearl? There you are. Okay. So Pearl, I want to congratulate you. I feel like you are seeing all of this crap going on outside, and I feel like you are not buying into it. I feel like you have turned your energy in. I feel like you are in, the word I'm going to use is in a creative place. I feel like there's a lot of nurturing going on. I feel like you are working on finding joy and happiness in everything you're doing. And so if you could just spread some of that joy and happiness to the rest of us with a little magic fairy dust, I'd really appreciate that. But whatever you're doing, keep that up. It's a great energy to look at. Okay, let's see. Christine. Hey, Christine. She says, hello. May I have a reading number 2, please? Thank you. You sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay. So, Christine, it's really interesting. I get the impression that you have been on a little bit of an introspective journey right now. I feel like for you, the energy, the memories, the vibration of old trauma is coming up for you to look at. I feel like there's a lot of things that have occurred in your life that you have kind of locked up in a box over there. And that box is open, and it's giving you the opportunity to address them and release them and come to terms with them, even though it sometimes is not really fun and many times is not very comfortable, but it is a wonderful opportunity. And the energy on the planet sucks right now. So you might as well use it to your advantage and like double dip it and work through stuff while it kind of sucks, because it sucks. It's not just you, it sucks. Okay. Let's see. Amy. Hey, Miss Amy. And she says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. Can I have a number 1 reading tonight? Please. Thank you. You sure can, Amy. Interesting. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Amy, I get the impression that you have really been making a conscious effort to ground and focus and to pull your into yourself versus you have really been raising your awareness. This is really since last week on where your thinking is at and bringing it more under your control. So good job with that. Um, Again, I feel like there's been that you have been doing a lot of nurturing of yourself. Um, and it's interesting because you're doing this stuff, and even though like you don't see like, well, if I do this, this will be the outcome, or it will propel me to this other place. I feel like now you're doing it more in like, I don't want to say maintenance, but kind of maintenance. But I feel like, practice is practice is practice. And so there is value to it in the big picture of things. So good job. Okay. And Christine says, hey, beautiful people. ERRT, like my glasses. Thank you, ERRT Radio. Okay, and then Lily would like a reading, and she would like a number 1. Okay, and I'm just going to scooch down 1 second, Lily. So Mark says, can I ask? So Mark, if you would like a reading, leave me a number between 1 and 3, and I will sure, do a reading on that. Or if you want to go to soulhealer.com/live and ask a specific question, click on the Ask Dr. Rita link, and you can do that there. Okay, Lily wants a number 1. You sure can, Lily. Okay, and here's your card for today. So, Lily, I get the impression that there are some choices that are being presented to you. I feel like I don't know. I feel like they all have, and I'm going to say similar weight. I feel like one has more weight, or more appeal than the other ones or other couple. I would like to suggest that maybe, again, you take a step back and look at what they have in common to see if you can take several of those other ideas and combine them into actually a bigger and more expanded vision of what you're looking for. And then take that vision and again, break that up, because I feel like actually it's a pretty big picture, like a big picture. And then take that vision and say, what do I need to do first? Ask that question, what do I need to do next? Or what do I need to do first? And that will guide you down this path. But it won't make it so that you have to discard everything, because I feel like there are pieces from the other options that feel good to you. And so I'm feeling like, again, it could be a bigger, more expanded choice. Although, and if it feels a little overwhelming, it feels a little overwhelming to me. But I feel like once you start moving forward in that bigger picture, it will start to sort itself out. So don't be scared. Don't be scared. Okay, let's see. ERRT Radio said, great topic, Dr. Rita. Thank you, ERRT Radio. Okay, and then Marful. I'm going to say Marful. If that's not right, sorry, but that's your new name. And you look like a new person. So welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Says, hey, Dr. Rita, I would like a reading, please. Number 2. Thank you. You sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so Marvel, I feel like you have a decision that you are making as well. And I am going to say no. The answer is no. So this is, I say it's the Dr. Rita rule. I didn't make this up, but I'm owning it. If it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's a maybe, it's really a no that you're trying to talk yourself into. So do you want $1 million? Yes. Do you want to do your income taxes? No. And then there are those questions where it's like, do you want to take advantage of this opportunity? You know, and your brain is going, well, I could make $1 million and I could do this and I could be a superstar and da. But your body is just not feeling congruent with it. And when I look at your body, it is not feeling congruent to me, which is why I said no. Okay? Hope that helps. And then Marvel said, really great topic and integral to our ascension process here. No kidding. And then ERRT Radio says, change what you look at on social media. That's a part of it. And then we have Brady Holmgren. Brady, how you doing? Hello there, Dr. Rita. Can I have a number 2 reading, please? Thank you so much. And Brady, you sure can. And you look like kind of a new name too. So welcome to the show, and you sure can have a reading. All right, and that's your card for today. If you were here for the beginning of the beginning of the show where I was talking about emotional addiction, but I'm feeling like, I don't know if, excuse me, the conversation triggers something in you, but I'm feeling like you kind of have some of your own addictive behaviors, you know, whether it's emotional addiction or not. I'm going to say probably not. I'm feeling like it's more, you know, behavioral addiction. You know, so I don't know if that's something that you have become more aware of. I don't know if that is coming up because it's becoming more disruptive in your life. But that is coming up for me. I mean, if I was to pick one, I would say it's, you know, it's becoming more disruptive in your life. You know, so maybe it's time to start paying attention to it and seeing what it's trying to tell you so that you can start making that change in yourself and in your life so that you can leave that addiction behind. And then ERRT Radio says, wow, thank you, Dr. Rita, right on point. Great, ERRT Radio, thank you. Then Don says, I like what you said. Having lived with IBS, emotional ups and downs most of my life, it has caused me jobs and loved and being what I really want to do in life. Okay, so Don, so that's a complaint. That leaves you in victim mode. And now I'm going to challenge you to turn that around into something, you know, look at what have you aspect. was there for you? You know, what kind of insights did you gain? It can't all have been lost. You know, I would bet you gained a lot of inner fortitude and knowledge and experience in dealing with life. And so, no more complaining, no more whining. Find the positive. Find the positive, or try even just a little bit, because every time you do it, it just adds more equity in the win pile and takes one piece of negativity out of the negative pile. Then ERRT Radio says, praying for Unar. Thank you, ERRT Radio. And then Pearl says, thank you for the information on emotional addiction. Great dose of prevention for me. Excellent. Thank you. And then Yvonne says, that's exactly what is happening. Exactly. Thank you. Wow. Okay. You know, I'm just going to be real with you guys. I've had a really rough week, just a really rough week. And I almost canceled the show because I just was having a really rough week. So it just makes me feel so good that even in the middle of all of this, that I can be here for you and I can tap into that information, and it actually is coming through, because, you know, even I question myself sometimes. And I love you guys. Just love you guys. And then Dawn says, Dr. Rita, I didn't get the full reading. Sometimes when a jet passes over, it just distress. But thank you. You're welcome, Dawn. Watch it in the rerun because it was a good one for you today. And then Christine says, makes sense. Thank you. You're so welcome. And then Pearl says, my reading was spot on. Thank you. Woo, thank you. Amy says, thank you for the spot on reading again, heading to the tip jar. See, you all should follow Amy to the tip jar and leave a little something, something at soulhealer.com/live, because I would love you for it. Okay. And then Lily says, thank you. That was lovely. And I totally see what you mean. That really would help. You're so welcome, Lily. Oh, Brady is Lord of Ink. Hey, Lord of Ink. See, I know that name. Hi, Lord of Ink. Okay, Don says, just wish to say hi to everyone here. I'm glad we're still here to enjoy Dr. Rita. Well, I'm glad that you're here too, Don. All right, and yeah, Kalili. I'm just kind of going for it, Kalili. Hello, Dr. Rita. Can I choose number one? Appreciate you. You sure can. And I hope I'm not trashing your name too much. I almost called you 09H, but that would be bad. Oh, number one. Okay. And that's your card for today. So this is very interesting, Kalili. I feel like you are kind of in a growth period right now. I feel like you are that turbulent waters. This is the way that it's being expressed. Turbulent waters are coming your way, and you are actively choosing how you want to act or react to them. I feel like there is definitely an awareness of yourself in your interactions. And I feel, so it's like you've been turning off autopilot. So maybe that's what this growth period is about. I feel like there's new information and learning coming in for you right now. And one of the things they're suggesting is for you to pay attention to your dreams. Well, one, to make sure you're sleeping good, but also to pay attention to your dreams if you remember your dreams, because I feel like you're getting a certain amount of downloads that way as well. Okay. All right. And I'm at the bottom of the list and it's early. But you know what? It has been a long day and I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to go and I will see you all next week. And I'm going to be way more chipper because I'm praying that this energy and stuff that I've been working through, which isn't even my stuff, it's just stuff, um, is done. And I can just move on. So Kalili says, you're totally right. And thank you. You're so welcome. Amy says, great topic. Thank you. Amy, thank you. Anyway, guys, till next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Till then, be blessed.